Improve it, peeps. Oh my God. Today's guest is going to make you giggle. He's going to make you laugh. He's also going to give you a great conversation about digital content, where we are in this digital landscape. You're going to hear how he got to be the comic and impressionist that he is, and just have a little fun today. So, Nick Smeriglio's career has taken off since his TikTok impression of Sebastian Maniscalco blew up the internet in September of 2020. Now, back then, he earned reviews from Maniscalco himself, plus invaluable screen time when the fellow Arlington Heights native spotted Nick's video on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Nick is going to talk to you about this in this episode. And then in October 2021, you're going to hear all about how Nick packed up, moved to New York, and started doing comedy at East Coast comedy clubs. He is a Chicago native, which, as you know, I Improve It myself. I spent a 15-year stint in Chicago. That is where Improve It's roots began. But now Nick has started this career as a comic and a digital content creator. He's going to give you some of his story here today. I hope it resonates with you. And obviously, if you are listening today and you aren't pursuing a career in comedy like yours truly, take what he says and really apply it to yourself and how it can help you really love what you are doing. You're going to hear an awesome story about Nick's transition from corporate America to the comedy world during the pandemic. And I think this story is spot on when it comes to talking about following our passions and truly loving what we do. Let's get to Improving It with Nick Smeriglio. Nick, I am so excited to have you on the Improve It podcast.
What's up? How are you, Aaron?
Oh, I'm living dreams. I really am so excited. I feel like I got to do my research on you. You know, a very special someone in relation to this show. Her name is Rachel Oliveros. She might be your podcast manager.
Maybe not be special in her eyes because of how much time she had to give me training me at Viacom when I started, but God bless her for that. And you got a gem in the podcast game. Let's be honest.
Oh my God! And in life, Rachel is. We always said when she interned at Improve It, somehow, some way, we would find a way to work together. Here it is. She's here, so I'm thrilled to have you on this show. I told you we had this wonderful woman named Andrea Lopez on the show. And I know you know her. I know you might know her.
Just a tad. And I love what you do. I'm here to share the Nick gospel. And I want to just start off by setting an intention for this show. So what is one word that you want to give our listeners today? Fail.
Oh, yeah, fail, yeah.
I mean, like that's right. Easy layup for me because it was in front of me, but it couldn't be But no, fail is probably the best one, I think, for now.
It could be but we'll take fail. We'll take fail too.
Could be both. Might be one word by the end of the podcast.
It might be one word. Fail, yeah. There's no hyphen. Fail, yeah. And for those of you, for everyone who is listening, I have the fail yes sign behind me here, which is a big part of our journey. So this actually teased me up, Nick, for what I want to start with. So you had this awesome time in corporate America. Thank you to a Rachel Oliveros. I want you to share just sort of how that journey came. But now you're this awesome comedian, digital content creator. So how did you evolve to where you are? And how did this work on the corporate side help you along the way?
Yeah. So I marketing degree in college. I thought I was going to be a CMO when I graduated. That was the path. My dad's in advertising, so he was a huge inspiration for that side of the corporate world. And then
I did recruiting for a year. I did food service sales for a year and ended up just being miserable. It's just not, some of it's the millennial piece of like, how come no one cares about me? Probably, I think we're just wired that way generationally. But part of it was also, I just had this bug. I had this itch I had to scratch. And it was just like dates back to me being 11 years old watching Whose Line Is It Anyway on ABC Family. My sister and I loved that show. And I just remember like liking it a little bit more than most people did. And then in high school, all the football guys, we finished a senior year season, which was a wonderful 2-7, I think. And definitely not the athlete of the family. And then we went out for the musical and did Sound of Music in high school. And I loved performing. So fast forward to my sister takes me to a Second City show when I was like 2 years into the corporate world. And I was like, this is it. Like whatever they're doing on stage, I'm in love with this. Eventually get a job at Viacom downtown Chicago in the ad sales support, CSR, customers. I forget the Rachel would know.
Rachel's going to edit this show. Yeah, she's going to edit and she's going to be like, what?
Something that sounds really important that really,
a good
is
acronym.
It's a learning role and a good ground floor. And for me, I needed that, but it was an awesome company, great people, and I learned a lot. And I started taking Second City classes when I started at Viacom. Fast forward like a year, and I get casted for some like coached ensemble, and my boss let me take 6 Wednesdays as half days to go rehearse. And so Viacom is a huge forever like gratitude towards them, because I was ready to like not get another corporate job. I was so unhappy. My dad was like, just try this one place. Trust me, it's not the same. Give it a shot. And I was dreading it. I saw the job description. I was like, Dad, this is the same thing. This is the same thing in every resume, And I had a shitty attitude. And it's I'm so happy I did it, because they were allowing me to pursue what I didn't know at the time was really a dream, a hobby in the moment. And my last show was a week before COVID, and Depression 2.0 when COVID started. I was like, I finally found what I wanted to do. And now what, but I loved Second City. I loved improv. So Rachel aside, I would have done your podcast truthfully, because I love what you guys do too. So.
Okay, well, now I need to know who are some of your teachers, because they might be our people. Who are some of your teachers?
Oh, God, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I had
Andrew McCammon.
Rosie does not sound familiar. Andrew, maybe.
Okay. He's one of our guys. Both.
Whoever they were
Savage,
awesome.
Catherine Savage.
Oh, God.
No? Okay. Come back to me. Come back to me on that one.
Well, you know how improv works. They all have like a nickname when the first day, and we just make fun of them, and they make fun of us, and they become, I don't know, Blondie or I don't know, something like that. So that's not a good example, but they were awesome.
So you started doing improv. I did not know that. I thought you were doing impressions, stand up. I thought that was just the jump. I did not know you started an improv. And good for Viacom for recognizing, okay, so cool. He has, strengths outside of work, right? Let him go do that, and he'll show up for us here.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know I had strengths outside of work. It was a gamble on their end, but luckily with the job being salaried and overtime, they were just like, we trust you, make up your hours, go pursue this. And they kind of like looked at inward, the management team, the sales team, where they were like, we sell airtime for entertainment and actors and comedians. Like if someone in the airtime business wants to pursue the other side of Viacom's business, like why not? So it wasn't just me that I think got special treatment, if you will. I think it's something that they made collectively. At least my boss told me that. So again, props to Viacom, because they let me do that. And the other 2 jobs probably would not have let me have done that. So
that is awesome. Kudos, Viacom. I'm going to give them lots of love, because that is what's up. That's how you do it,
Yeah.
And now you've found this love and this passion, and you're a comic, and you have performed at Zanies, right? One of my favorite spots in Chicago. Love.
Yeah.
And then you also are a celebrity impressionist. And this I love. You were found doing your impersonation of Sebastian Maniscalco on TikTok. And then he saw this. Tell us that story about how he saw you doing the impression on Jimmy Kimmel.
So COVID starts. I wanted to like take more classes. I really wanted to be an actor more than a comedian. I was not an impressions kid, but my family was pushing me to get on TikTok to share or just take advantage of all this downtime because I wasn't doing anything. And all I knew how to do was these 3 impressions, which was Sebastian, Tony Soprano, Christopher Walken. So I put them in skits on TikTok and it just worked, which was nuts. So I kind of became impressions guy by default, just how the way, these apps work now.
Yeah.
Rhythms. But Sebastian saw it. And like 3 months later, July 2020, he guest hosted Kimmel and reviewed impressions of himself. And, he put me up there with 3 or 4 other people. One was Melissa Villaseñor from SNL, which was awesome. And I got a call from a Burbank, California number like the day of, and I ignored it. And I didn't because Sebastian posted about it on his social. I'm guest hosting and I'm reviewing impressions of myself. And everybody was texting me like, dude, it's gotta be you. It's gotta be you. So I'm like, I don't know. This is too weird. There's no way. And it's 3 months into COVID and me posting just to have fun. And lo and behold, my dad calls me after I get an unknown call from Burbank and he goes, it could be a studio. It could be, maybe it's Kimmel. So I listened to the voicemail and it was like, this is James from Jimmy Kimmel. We want to make sure you're okay with putting a video of yours on Kimmel tonight. And so props to my dad for telling me to call back a Burbank number because I wasn't expecting that. And I was on the show that night. It was crazy.
That is crazy. Okay. And did that sort of propel you forward on TikTok, or were you already seeing just a lot of movement from what you were doing?
I think I had like 10,000 followers on TikTok at the time, like, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 on Instagram. So I didn't really know where this thing was going to go. But Sebastian really is my inspiration to get into entertainment because he's also from Arlington Heights, Illinois, my hometown. Yeah. And just an Italian kid who got a corporate communications degree and did some corporate jobs until he was 24 and moved to LA. And his story was just so inspiring. And it just kind of showed me like, you don't have to know anybody in show business. You don't have to know a damn thing about show business, but you can, if you try and you work hard, his story really hit home for me, like in a way to where like, if I got his approval, if you will, like no one else's mentally, I remember like no one else's opinion matters. Like my one inspiration just gave me a nod on national TV and like, this is mine to screw up now kind of mentality. Yeah. So he really did do me a huge solid and he follows me on Instagram and he, very supportive.
Does he like your content? Do you get likes from Sebastian?
He did out of the gate. And then his mom started commenting like, my second son, so funny. And one day, like his wife, Lana, followed me as well. And she was liking some of the videos early. And then one day, next day, third day, fourth day, like there was no activity. And I'm like, Sebastian definitely called his mom and said, Ma, lay off the kid. All right. You're giving him too much confidence. It's not good. He's trying to do this thing and you're ruining his, so I at the time I was like, oh God, they all unfollow me or whatever. And then now looking back, like that makes sense based on his story because, it might have messed with my head a little bit if they kept engaging. And I took it as, okay, you got national TV, you got the follow. Like, let's see what you got. Like, go. Like, do your thing. And so, yeah, I messaged him a couple of times. Like, thanks for exposing me. It means a lot. Love what you do. All the respect. And it's like, happy to do it. Best to your family. Good luck in the entertainment business. And it's all I needed to really give me the confidence to pursue this thing. So it's definitely special.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, you cool. Literally like so for me, that would be like Oprah, that's a lot of people, but that would be Oprah or, Ellen before she got the bad press, like, type of like that, you know what I mean? But I still love her. I still love Ellen. But that's huge. Like that is just unbelievable. And now you fast forward, that was 2020. It's 2023. You've moved to New York. What made you move to New York? Was that the comedy scene?
Yeah. So I didn't really want to do stand-up, or it wasn't in my mind at the time. And then fast forward to fall of 2020 and comedy clubs started calling me to book me. And I was telling them I'd never gotten on stage before. I just had a year of improv at Second City. And they didn't care, which was insane to me. Like Sebastian's story is like 10 years of open mics and then maybe a special 15 years later. And so that was strange. Then I realized, the restaurants and entertainment and clubs were hurting during COVID. They were booking a lot of people with followings online. So I put a 30-minute set together, did a couple open mics. And then by like spring of 21, I was headlining like the Jersey Shore, Governor's Long Island, Atlantic City. It made no sense. And I got, just baptism by fire. Got a manager from another Italian comedian, Anthony Rodia, who I owe a lot of gratitude to as well for helping me out of the gate. My manager was in New York, and my following, because of some of the reposts I got by like Italian content pages, most were in New York. Like the demographics were like overwhelmingly New York, and like fractionally Chicago was like the number 2. So a buddy I met during COVID doing podcasting who lives on Long Island was like, dude, if your following's here and you need a spare bedroom for a couple months, like we'll figure it out. Check with the wife. And lo and behold, it was $750 a month on Long Island for 6 months. And I threw my life in my grandma's car and I drove out there, and it happened so fast. It's still crazy to think back at how insane the whole thing is, but loved it. And fell right into a groove, met a lot of people, got some jobs, I've been auditioning, getting on stage, and then moved to Brooklyn a year ago after 6 months on Long Island. So it's been a true blessing. I'm aware of the fact that my COVID experience was the 0.01% of the population, in the sense that it was very beneficial to me, and grateful for that. So it's been pretty cool for sure.
Wow. I mean, truly. I'm not going to lie to you, Nick. It is the opposite of my story, but you know what? We're here now. We are here now.
My story makes no sense. It still doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, why am I headlining these places? I don't know what I'm doing still.
No, so but I mean, it all happened for a reason that is so awesome. And now you're doing a life that you love. And guess what? Corporate America helped you remember the life that you love. So, and helped you, I guess, find the life that you love, which is so crazy. And now you're doing these shows. You're in New York. You're in Brooklyn. So I thought this would be fun. And tell me, Nick, if you're like, listen, I'm sick of it. And I know which is shocking to me that you're not an impersonator. Like I really feel like when I look at your page, I was like, man, that's it. But you have this whole comedic chop to you, which is fascinating. And I had no clue that you started an improv, which is even cooler. So are you ready? Could we do a few characters here?
Put me on the spot. Fire away.
Okay. All right. Because this is, what we do. So I'm going to do some lightning round questions. And so they're super, super quick. And you can answer them as Nick or as let's answer them as the character would. I think that would be easier. So, okay. The first one is Christopher Walken. Okay. What's your favorite podcast, Christopher Walken?
I've done a lot of podcasts, Aaron. I do. I like them. It's a great forum for conversation in today's digital age. After many runs at podcast interviews, I have to say, of course, it'd be obtuse to not acknowledge Improve It with Aaron. It's been great. Fascinating. The prep. Oh my, it's great. So good to be here, Aaron. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Christopher. Okay. And then one more question for you. What is your favorite food item to order off a menu?
Pasta, linguine, rigatoni, farfalle, you name it. Oh my. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Linguine, farfalle, or richetti, oh my. I like pasta, Aaron. It's great. It's Italian food. It goes with anything. I need to stop eating it because I'm getting fat. But, here we are.
Crushed it.
Oh,
okay.
God.
All right. I got a couple more. Okay. Can we do Sebastian? Sebastian?
No.
Okay, Sebastian, what is the best book that you've read lately?
Honestly, the only book I've ever read cover to cover, true story, is my own. It's called Stay Hungry. If you can't tell, I was a horrible student because I didn't read nothing. Ask Rachel. She trained me. I didn't read nothing.
Amazing. Okay. And then, Sebastian, what's your favorite television show to binge?
Oh my gosh, I just did Walken. I like, I'm a big fan of Mad Men. You seen Mad Men with John Hamm and Roger Sterling? It's a great highlight of the 60s and Madison Avenue and just the class. Can we talk about the class these people had with the suits and the punctuality? I mean, what a different era today. I mean, people aren't wearing suits to the office anymore. They got slippers and flannels on. I mean, what is that all about?
Amen. Okay. Yes. Sebastian. Question. Okay. I got one more. And this one I like trolled through your gram. And I don't think you do this one a lot, but I liked it. Gary Vaynerchuk. Can we do a Gary?
Of course. Like, ask whatever you have to ask. I'm just starting. You didn't even ask me a question. Sorry.
I love it. Okay. What's the best movie you've ever seen, Gary?
Like, movies are like so powerful in the content industry. And it's funny you asked me that because tonight I'm literally posting a collab with another Gary V impersonator. Swear to God, Nima Nazari. Favorite movie? I would probably say Good Will Hunting. Great movie. Honestly, like, Boston accents are amazing. You know, I'm not from there, but it's cool and a great story and therapy, like self-bettering, patience, perseverance.
Gary, I love it. Okay, and Gary, one more question for you. Who is your favorite comic?
You know, lately I had so absurd. My impression sucked.
No,
Tim Dillon.
It was so good. Keep going.
Tim Dillon, great comic, Long Island comic. Tim Dillon, like blowing up like significantly online and like TikTok and Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, who knows? And only 10 years in, like murdering, just crushing it, and all the humility in the world. So prop Timmy D, Dillon, Tim. Sorry.
Gary, yes. Oh my God. Crushed it. And that is the name of his book, Crush It.
Is it really?
Well, it's one of the very first.
Oh, yeah.
One of the very
first. A lot
first.
of books now, right?
Oh, my God, Nick. That was good. My cheeks hurt. That was amazing. I loved it. And also my favorite is like when you break, because that is my favorite moment in any type of comedy scene. Like if people break, it just makes me laugh even harder, but you crushed it. Like truly, those were amazing.
And just to thank you, but just to be clear, like I have nothing against impressions. I guess I didn't know it was going to get me a career change from TikTok. So I learned all the new ones that like the audience would suggest after starting on TikTok. And then once you get into stand up and acting, either you love impressions enough to make it your whole act, or if you can channel some other, stories or that darkness of comedy or whatever character into stand up and acting, like I've been coached to like develop my own brand, and a lot of the impressions things can take away from that. So I have nothing against them. I just don't post them as much because I'd rather be branded as or at least attempt to be branded than more than that. With nothing wrong with it at all. It's just really not me at my core. So no problem asking me any of those questions, by the way.
Oh my God, I love it. And I'm glad you shared that, because a lot of people don't know that comedy. Okay, so there's so many elements to it. Great storytelling, right, is obviously one, which I love. And that showcases who you are as a human. There's so much, the truth in comedy from an improv perspective is really just, in my opinion, where the great comedy lies, because you take exactly what and I've seen some of your other videos too, where you're taking everyday instances and things that we do all the time and just amplifying them. Like the one you had where your mom was waking you up and you had on a hair towel. We'll get everybody to follow you on the gram. Okay. And you got to pin this one. I loved this one so much because that was my mother. That literally was my mom. And you come in 3 different times, and every time you're getting more annoyed and trying to get you up for the day. Like that was me, like as a teenager, and everybody can relate to that. And that's also like the truth in the comedy right there. Like, and so let me ask you this too, because I want to talk about these social platforms, because truly they launch careers. I've seen it happen with you. Andrea, we've seen it with Sam Ramsdell, who was on the show. We have seen it. There was another guy on this show, DJ Pryor, who had a video go viral before videos were a thing on Instagram. And now it's landed him this huge comedy career. So
crazy.
What do you love most
most about TikTok and Instagram, just the platforms in general?
Oh my God, it's changed so much in 3 years,
Right.
to where I'm like annoyed now, honestly, trying to keep up with all the like algorithm BS. But
Yeah.
what I love the most, I think it's just like, this sounds so artsy, but it's so true. I came into them, and I still look at them this way. It's just a blank canvas, and whoever you want to be, you can be it. And if you don't care what anybody thinks, if you can get over that hump, like, everything else just takes care of itself. Like, if you just follow, Gary Vee is one of the people that I follow for this advice, is just like, consistent with your content, whether it's 3 times a day or once a day or 3 times a week. Engage with your audience, respond to messages, and just be active and treat it like a business and like a brand. It's a canvas for whoever I want to be creatively, and it gives me an opportunity to engage with people that may or may not like it. And the good comes with the bad, obviously, with the feedback there. But you just learn a lot. Every time you post, you learn. Every time you engage with somebody, you learn. After a show, when someone comes up to me and they tell me this, which is crazy, but it happens, like, this video changed my life. Your videos during the pandemic changed my life. My father was on his deathbed with terminal cancer, and he wanted to see one of your videos. Like, stuff in person has like brought me to tears, along with the person telling me that. Like, that's priceless. And that's something that I didn't realize, that responsibility during COVID, that people were messaging me saying I was helping their depression, which is, I was like doing that for myself. I'm like, I need a distraction from all this, because I don't know what career I'm going to be in a couple months or years. So going from just, I don't know who the heck I am or what I'm going to be or what this video even is, to like, people are positively responding in that way. That's amazing. So that feedback full circle is probably the best part about the apps, honestly.
Yeah, so, that is
I forget
awesome.
that, by the way. I forget that way too often. I get selfish. I critique myself on engagement and views, like, what's wrong with me. But the reality is, like, it's one person, God knows where, who I might never meet, never know. Yeah. They might never message me. And just like the thought of this is helping someone, whether it's true or not, it's motivating. So
totally.
That's probably the best part.
Oh, I love it. I hear that. And you know what? It's so cool, because you don't even know, a lot of people who haven't even reached out to you have been changed because of the positive message, the laughter you've given them. I know, right? Isn't that crazy to think about? Yeah, you have no clue, right? Like, so, and there's content creators I followed that I've never even liked their stuff, which is a jerk move. Like, I should, as a content creator, I should like it, but instead I'm just scrolling and scrolling.
That's me too. That's all of us. That's all of us.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I mean, if you look at it, whether you have 100 followers or 100,000 followers, and 3 people give you feedback, you can assume that there's probably, I don't know, tenfold that feel the same way, maybe double. And all it takes is one, to just remind you why you're doing what you're doing. So yeah, it's
awesome. That's cool. I mean, full circle moment.
What about you? I mean, your audience, the feedback you've gotten, like,
I mean, truly, it does change. There are days when like my imposter syndrome is super high, my limiting beliefs are just kicking, and I'm got that ego just flaring up. And then I'll get a message from a listener, or I'll get somebody who I don't know, that people who I know who listen to the show, they'll reach out to me. It means so, like, literally, it means so much that they take the time to do it. There's so much content out there, right? When I hear from somebody who I've never met in real life, this aha moment goes off for me, and I'm like, that is the why. That is the why. And I'll tell you one thing. I had a lot of issues with infertility, and just like, I have a miracle baby son. That episode, I did a whole episode like 2 years about it, has helped so many women. And
good
like,
for you.
I had a woman reach out to me, and I hope she's listening. G. I'm just going to say G. And that episode helped her keep going. And now she has a miracle baby. And so it's like stuff like that. You just don't realize it in the moment. And then you have those off days, and you're like, oh,
I think the hardest part about that concept is that people might see that feedback that listen to your podcast, and it's a testament to you, whether you know it or not, to like, that takes a lot of guts to share, to open up about something personal on a topic that's not relative to what you're really trying to do from a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to make that decision to open up about it. And what people don't realize is this is a good story about who you are as a person, but how many other times did you share something that maybe it didn't land or it didn't get the feedback that you expected? And no one hears about all of those. So like, this goes for anything, whether it's a bad video, a good video, or a good story like that. You might share 100 times something that hurts you because the intentions are good for your brand, but it flips on you and it's actually not who your audience might be, or the video is terrible and people only see the good stuff. And that means so much more to us, I think, to get that feedback, because it shows you that there is power in vulnerability. And it's something that I think makes podcasts, like the great podcast, great, or just great content creators great. But it's so hard to navigate that and make those decisions, like when or which topic, or sometimes you're in a bad mood or you're busy for a month and you're not thinking clearly and you think opening up about this is a good idea and it just bites you in the butt. And so like truthfully, like you never know how people are going to react, but that stuff keeps you going too, obviously. So that's awesome.
1,000%. And I try to keep 80% of the content relevant to, our message, what we're doing. Yeah. And then that 20%, I'm like, she's going to fly. She's going to fly, because we're human, right? And that's how people connect to human beings, is through those authentic, vulnerable moments. And they might be really hard to share. But even you talking about your journey here, this is vulnerable. Somebody listening could want a career as a comic or a digital content creator and say, oh, okay, I'm going to start posting videos. It's just telling those stories just matter, and you never know who they're going to impact.
Yeah, no, it's so, and the other piece of it too is not only an audience listener who might have, a corporate job or whoever they might be, but creators too. Like I forget, like, my confidence and not caring what other people think has kind of been snipped since Sebastian put me on TV. What's going to be 3 years ago. But the vast majority of so many other people don't have that booster or that exposure or that nod from someone that inspires them. So I've had to check myself, like, why aren't you posting more? Like, what are you worried about? Why'd you turn your like count off? Like, what? And they're like, they won't give me the answer. But over time, I'm like, of course they care what people think. This is a brutal job. It's a brutal industry. So, and in that way, I've learned, that most of us are incredibly insecure, and it's so hard to put yourself out there. So that's fun too, to have those conversations with other creators about just keeping them, positive and uplifting. And in Gary Vee's words, just F them. I don't know if I can swear, but screw them. Like, nobody cares. Like, be yourself. And it's so true though. Like, who cares? Who cares?
Who cares? And it's like, we all are born. I always say this too. It's like, we're born with love, right? Like we aren't born afraid, and we just learn that along the way. And so the older I get, like, I'm turning 40, Nick. Okay.
You don't look 40, Aaron.
She's 40. It's Botox and prayers. And I will tell you, like, that to me, the older that I've gotten, the more, and I know that's not even old, but like every year, I just try to keep remembering that love is greater than fear. And then the message that we're here to do, your message, your comedy, your style is the only style of Nick. Like, you can only do this style. Nobody else can. Maybe you'll have somebody doing an impression of you one day, which would be awesome. Right? So, but think about that. And that, I think that's really cool for people to hear, that, there are days when I want to not do this because I'm doubting myself. There's days when I think, oh my God, what am I going to post? Like, who cares? Nobody cares, but people do. And it's that one, you focus on the one versus the many. That's it. Right?
Yeah, I 100%. And the other thing too is, like, I'm far from perfect at maintaining that love versus hate message, because there's days where, I'm not in a good mood and I don't realize it. And I post something that's actually divisive and I don't even know it. And I see the reaction and I'm like, wait, that's not what I was trying to do. I thought this was supposed to be funny. And the reality is, like, and another comic told me this about stand-up. Most people are miserable. And it hit me so hard. She's a very successful comedian, Jessie Curson. I don't know if you know who she is. She was just reminding me, like, I know you're miserable. I'm miserable. Tell us why you're miserable. Like the humor will come from those stories. And the same thing works for online in the sense that even if you're promoting the love versus hate daily and you stick to it and people, hate it, the people that you forget, the people that don't like it are miserable too. And that reaction and feedback online is something you don't think about until, maybe you do it long enough where you get over that hump, but it's not personal. It's again, something Gary says is they're upset about something or sad or angry and they were looking for an out and you didn't give it to them. It doesn't mean that it was the wrong decision on your end. It's just a realization after 3 years of doing this that, like, people really are miserable. Sad. And they look to us, which is nuts, however many of them, for something. And it's our job, like, every day, every week to figure that out. So it's, for some weird reason, like, I'm far from a brain surgeon, but there's, like, a lot of responsibility that comes with, like, creating stuff and making that decision, and responsibility in managing the feedback, positive and negative. And that's, a lot of people don't do that, and that's totally fine. They either don't care about the messages or they have somebody answer for them. But for me, you learn a lot about yourself. And I think you're kind of saying that as well. So,
yeah. Well, yeah. And that's, so let me ask you this, because this is something I really wanted to talk to you about. Where do you think the future of digital content creation is going?
It's changed so much the past 3 years. Like the fact that Reels didn't exist on Instagram 2.5 years ago. I remember when they rolled them out, it was like fall 2020, and seeing them, like, literally, I was just talking to another creator about this last week. It's the exact same algorithm as TikTok now. Like, some videos get 300 likes, some get 6,000 likes. Like, before Reels, and even before, like, they honed the algorithm, it was a consistent viewership engagement because the feed it wasn't chronological, but it was algorithmic in the sense that it prioritized the best performing of the people you followed. So at least you when you knew if something was doing well or if it was on the right track. I don't want to get too into the weeds with it, but knowing that, looking back, I have no idea. And I think what's so intriguing is, a lot of people said during COVID, entertainment would flip back to what it was. And this, people would go back into the office and there wouldn't be Zooms, or there wouldn't be remote work, or there wouldn't be improv sessions on Zooms but the reality is, like, it's gotten so advanced and, like, the resources feels like quintupled into the digital, like, dynamic, to where I thought VR was 15 years away. Like, we might be doing shows with goggles on in 3 years. I have no idea, but I think the answer to your question, it's why we have to do this every day and stay educated every day to understand where it's going to go. But it's only going to get more complicated, I think, and harder to navigate.
I know.
Now, like YouTube Shorts, Google's paying TikTok creators for 1 week exclusivity before posting to TikTok. Like, so 6 month contracts. A buddy of mine, $80,000 for 6 months. He's got to post 60 videos in 6 months, and they all have to be a week before TikTok. Like, that's just Google saying there's no other way to poach these people from TikTok, so let's pay them for exclusivity. So that's crazy in and of itself. And that was like a year ago. So who knows how competitive this is going to get? ChatGPT with AI now is crazy. So it kind of scares me now.
I know.
I gotta be honest.
It's like terrifying. It is terrifying.
This Canvas thing is not really what I thought it was going to be.
I know. Well, back in my day, Nick, when I was in college, I
Charleston accent.
That's my Charleston. I was doing the Charleston, and there was Facebook. Literally, Facebook happened the year after I graduated, it actually happened the year I graduated, but I didn't join it until 2006. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't, like my generation, I'm an elder millennial. Okay. Literally, we did not have this growing up. And so my son, who is 3.5, like, what is that digital landscape going to look like?
That's the scariest part.
Right?
For sure. The kids, and you have kids, I don't, but eventually, can you raise them the same way we were raised in a way? I mean, I didn't get a cell phone till high school.
Me neither.
I didn't get Facebook till 2008, which was high school. So even though we're 10 years apart, like it's still pretty similar upbringing where we grew up without your phone being your life. And I think about kids, and I don't know how you do it, but it's only going to get harder to make the decision of screen time, or is my kid just going to be a computer like we all are? I mean, like I saw an article yesterday. It says you can now you'll be able to upload your consciousness by the end of the year.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
They take the data for everything you decide to give them, every Word document, every app, every text, and they can create you and upload. You can upload yourself by the end of the year. Like,
that is terrifying. I'm terrified. I'm not writing anything ever. I'm stopping the book that I'm creating. All things.
It's got real negative, real facts.
Yes, it did. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
okay,
that's my fault. That's your fault. No. I'm just saying as a creator.
Let me ask you this though, because I think this is interesting. Like the future of it is fascinating. No one knows. Yeah. Like we never knew. I never knew Instagram.
It excites me. By the way. It definitely excites me. I'll say that. But sorry.
But like Nick, I would probably know you from Rachel, but would the world know you without these apps, right? There's so many cool things about it before these apps. So in order for me to tell people about Improve It, we would literally have the phone book and we would have to call people in the yellow pages. And that's how I tell myself every time I don't want to post something or I get, I'm just like in my own head, I'm like, this is a megaphone and it exists for a reason. Use it. So let me ask you this one question that I think will be really beneficial to somebody listening today who is thinking about content creation in general. What is one piece of advice that you would say to them if they wanted to get started? What is the first step that they could do?
I mean, the first one is not the most important one, in my opinion. The first one is just deciding how you want people to look at you. Like, what's your brand? What's your goal? Yeah. You don't have to, the corporate goals stuff, like it exists in the creator, comic, acting world. Like you should have goals, but I've never made a goal list. Like I know what my goals are, but I don't like every week make sure to accomplish something so I don't want to go down that road, but you have to make a decision on who your brand is. I didn't think I was going to be impressions guy, and that was my brand for a while, and then you pivot. So make a decision on what kind of content you want to expose yourself with. And I think the second thing is also the first thing is you literally cannot care what anybody thinks. And I didn't think it was going to be my mom and dad, but my mom comments when I say shit. My dad doesn't like stand-up stories that tell something about my brother. And every comic that has given me feedback has said, ignore them, ignore them, ignore them. And it's so friggin' hard to ignore even your closest friends and family sometimes. Obviously, there's times where like, that was stupid. You're right. Shouldn't have done that. But you cannot care what anybody thinks. And it's, like I said, I was lucky because Sebastian gave me that confidence early. But that's really it. If everything else just comes with ease because you just get hooked on creating stuff. And if you want to be a creator, you should create, but make a decision on who you want to be. And you're going to lose some friends. There's people that are going to go, they're going to see your growth or see some success or even see failure. And they're going to pounce on the failure and highlight it. Or they're going to get like drifty and critique you in ways you didn't think when you see some success. And you never know who they're going to be, but you have to move past them because they're not worth having you. Toxicity is the last thing you need in your life. And you got to move past that too, which is so freaking hard, but it's true. In my opinion.
I love that. And it's just true for everything. Career oriented.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Digital creation, any type of success might trigger somebody or it might inspire them. Right. And so Keep going, Nick. We are proud of you. Now, okay, this is my final question.
Cool.
We ask
fast.
everybody. Okay, I know, right?
Damn.
Okay, we say it and prove it. The it is that thing that you were put on this earth to do. So what is Nick's it?
Wow. I came into this saying fail, trying to highlight how much failure is important. And I don't even know. I mean, I think storytelling. I want to be a storyteller. And that could be editing a video that I'm not even in, or producing a movie I'm not even in. I've always made videos just for fun. I didn't know I was going to end up like this. Like anniversary videos for my grandparents when I was a kid. I think with stand-up, with acting, with playing a character, like what's motivated me the most is movies and TV. And I think the most powerful part of that is how the story was told, whether it's horrible or really positive. I think that's what I want to do in whatever platform it is. On stage, producing a movie, editing a movie. I don't care if I'm an assistant, whatever I have to do. There's so much power in storytelling. And I think people need it. They really do need it.
They do. And it helps, as you have seen, it helps people in ways that you don't even know.
Yeah.
So, okay, if somebody wanted to find you on Instagram, TikTok, all the things, how could they find you?
Nicky Smigs. My full name is Nick Smeriglio, long Italian last name. So we went with Smigs at a young age, I guess. But Nicky Smigs, SMIGS on everything. NickySmigs.com, whatever. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, we'll put it in the show notes. Nick, you are awesome.
Thank you. You're awesome.
So much for coming on the show. Keep improving it. You know what I mean?
Will do. I appreciate it. You too. This is a Gary Vee episode. I mean, ignore them. Like improve. Oh my God. I hope our listeners like Gary Vee. No.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Hey friend, did you enjoy today's show? If so, head on over to iTunes to rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, did I mention that when you leave a 5-star review of the Improve It podcast, an actual team of humans does a happy dance? That's right. So leave a review for us on iTunes, screenshot it, and send me an email at info@learntoimproveit.com. I'll send you a personalized video back as a thank you. Thanks so much for listening. Improve it, peeps. I'll see you next Wednesday.